From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, Florida State perhaps a preseason underdog to 4 teams on their schedule, but their quarterback better than most. Growing optimism that the Alabama game will be a full 60-minute slugfest, and we're generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it, a synergistically formulated energy shot to give you 7 hours of energy and to give you vital nutrients. Things that'll help your focus, that'll help your mood in one little bottle that you can take pretty much anywhere and everywhere with you. You can even leave it in the fridge if you want to be a little chilled when you're throwing it down the old gullet. I do that with the sour apple sometimes, Corey, not going to lie. But the Blue Raz tastes fine no matter what. The Tango Orange tastes fantastic no matter what. And I get my mood better. I get my focus right, get my energy going. Not that I need a lot of energy because we're so close to football season. It's what I live for. But maybe you need some help. Everybody, try Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Subscribe, thumbs up, ratings, reviews, subscriptions. Do some of it, all of it, none of it. But, you know, the more you do, the more we appreciate you. We being myself and Corey Clark. Corey, how are you?
I'm wonderful, Aslan. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay, cool. Well, we got a long show. We got a mailbag, so don't need to do a lot of preamble. I guess let's kind of hop into what happened on Tuesday morning when we spoke to, I'm making it sound like something big happened, but our day on Tuesday involved going to campus, Florida State University's campus, that is, and we spoke to head coach Mike Norvell, as well as Justin Juice Cryer and Elijah Herring. So linebackers a little bit in focus, but I thought Mike on Tuesday was, you know, off camera before it started. He was kind of joking around and a little bit more loose and playful, kind of the way we used to see him before the reality of last year really kind of set in and stained everything. Although part of it was he was dealing with migraines, which might not be a good sign, Corey. But there was a sort of looseness to him, a different kind of energy. And he seemed to be pretty open, mentioning the fact that, listen, like they're now in Alabama game prep mode. So I don't know. There's maybe a quiet confidence to him. I mean, what did you take away from what Mike Norvell talked about and said on Tuesday?
Yeah, he was definitely in a lighthearted mood, which is a good sign when you're coming off the practice field. That means he, for the most part, I would think that means he liked what he saw on their first day of game prep, which is what this was. He called it game week, but obviously it's not game week. That's next week. But they started install for Alabama on Tuesday. And what I thought was interesting, Aslan, maybe the most interesting thing of everything he said about the practice itself. Physicality's fine, all that. The fact that he did switch practice up this year, where on game weeks, they're still going to do good on good at the end. Because I thought he said that, you know, we got to watch practice for the last 5 years. So they would do good on good every practice, even during the season. But at the end, the probably last 2 or 3 or 4 periods was always starting offense versus scout team, which you're supposed to do it to like get a good look, get a feel for what you're doing. But as Justin Cryer talked about when we asked him about it, is like there's a natural tendency when you're a starter and you're playing against the scout at the end of practice. It's like, okay, we made it to the end of practice.
Exactly.
Let's go through a couple scout team drills and then we're good to go. So now they've switched it where they do their scout team stuff, but the last 2 periods are back to good on good, ones first ones, twos first twos, ones first twos, where the guys that are going to be playing on Saturdays are going up against each other, and it's real competitive. And it's not just kind of 70% speed against the scout team. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that you know, we knew it anyway. That's why Gus Malzahn and Tony White and a bunch of new players are here. Things had to change from last year. I don't know if it was Norvell's idea, if this is something Gus has always done or Tony's always done, or if they all combined to brain power it and figure it out. But I like the idea of ending good on good. Like, end with some competitiveness near the end of practice, because what Norvell was talking about is it makes them focus on, okay, you're at period 20. The practice isn't over. You got something waiting for you. You got real competition waiting for you in about 3 minutes. So get your mind right, even though you're dog tired, because in the fourth quarter, you're going to be dog tired, and it's going to be real competitive. So I like that. I like that addition to practice.
Really well said, Corey. I mean, I probably would have slept a little bit on that, but that's an extremely salient point because even in 2023, listen, watching practice, when they would start going to scout, I was done. I was sort of checked out. Not saying that obviously those players were because they performed really well on Saturdays, that 2023 team, but there has to be some sort of sense of complacency, or like you said, Justin Cryer mentioning like, all right, like we've kind of made it to the finish line and we're just going to kind of coast the rest of the way at the end of this practice doing scout looks. So to go back good on good, I think is a really good addition, a good wrinkle that could make a substantive change to the way they, perform on Saturdays and maybe even close out some games. Not that they necessarily lost any games last minute. Although, I mean, Georgia Tech game, maybe if they had a little bit of a harder practice, maybe they finish a little better against Georgia Tech. But yeah, I thought that was a really good sort of revelation, and obviously talking about the Alabama thing. But he mentioned physicality. He even said, I think ad nauseum, I've talked to you guys about edge, but I'm seeing that, I'm feeling that. And since it is the mailbag show, this was a question that was in the mailbag before we even kick things off with Mike on Tuesday. Our guy Gio Noel, who said, "Wake up! Another long off season helped by the best podcast in the land. Thank you for all that you do."
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's our pleasure.
My question to both of you is, how much weight do you put on what Coach Norvell says moving forward into the season? And have you been able to read Coach Malzahn and Tony White yet to see how they really feel about the team? Again, thank you for all that you do. And so we talked about what he said, Corey, but just, I guess, how much of it is real, how much of it is substantive, and can you really read into and believe? And that's something worth talking about and something that's going to generate some discussion. And it will be generating discussion over on warchant.com Travel Council because it's powered by Cummins, and that's the question that we're going with. Shout out to our guy, Gio Noel. Check out Cummins on Instagram. It's Cummins Lifestyle. It's all one word. Again, I know summer's winding down, but you guys are going to be going to some of these games. Roadie to Charlottesville, perhaps? Why not? You need portable power when you're tailgating. You don't want to just bring cold subs and chips. It's not a tailgate. That's just like cafeteria food outdoors. You need portable power. Make sure it doesn't bother everybody else around you. Quiet, reliable power. It's Cummins, the Cummins own and line of products. Check it out. Cummins Lifestyle on Instagram. All right, so Corey, what do you take away from what Coach has said? I feel like Tuesday, that felt a little bit more, I don't want to say genuine, but it felt a little bit more revealing, revelatory than what we've kind of got from him lately. But I don't know. Are you at a point where it's totally all about, I need to see it on the field?
Yeah, I mean, his words only matter to a certain point. Obviously, but it's year 6, and it's, he's coming off what he came off last year. But as the season goes on, I'm genuinely interested. Remember how he did? By the way, Aslan, what about? There you go. Come on, it's Cummins. It's the Cummins. We're generating discussion.
Right.
Start the generator, everyone.
Sure enough.
I thought he did a not great job last year of talking how much he believed in a team that he should not have believed in. I'm genuinely interested in how he handles this season when they are going to have some valleys. They're not going undefeated. So how's he going to handle a loss or two? As he talks right now, I think Aslan's right. He is more there's a little more clarity in his voice. He's a little more transparent about what he thinks. And I thought what he said on Tuesday, Aslan, that I don't think can be underestimated. Not that this exactly answers the question yet. He talked about the edge and wanting to play with an edge, but he also talked about how everybody on the team has an edge. He didn't say it as rudely as I'm about to say it, but essentially because none of them have accomplished jack squat in their college careers. Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White have had nice seasons, but they weren't incredible. They weren't all-stars. Nobody else was good enough to make the NFL after their junior years. There's some, except Darrell Jackson probably. Tommy Castellanos was kind of cast aside. Like all these guys, even what we think are talented players, have a lot to prove. And you've got 2 coordinators that have a lot to prove. So I think it's a pretty good combination of that. And speaking of the coordinators, I don't think we really have a feel. We'll never get a feel for Malzahn. Malzahn's just going to be Malzahn. I'm interested in Tony White after a win and after a loss. You know what I mean? Like right now, I think we've talked to him twice this preseason, and we won't get him again until after the Alabama game. What they're like, what their mood is, how willing they are to call people out for not playing well, or shout people out that do play well. That'll be revelatory to see how they handle that because we don't know yet.
But you kind of have an idea of what Tony White's expectations are. Do you think they're being met now that we spoke to Cryer and Herring? It sounded like on Tuesday, both of them said that they also got the memo after that second scrimmage where Tony White was talking about just not too many guys, trying to go around the block or not putting their nose into the blocker, things of that nature. I mean, do you think it's still going to be a game time decision, if you will? Florida State has the requisite physicality to match up with a team like Alabama based on what Tony White and these players have said, or again, you kind of have to see what happens when the game kicks off.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see. Look, you can be as physical and as hard-nosed as you want. Sometimes you're just not as good as the guy in front of you. And that doesn't necessarily, like, you might take on a block and get pancaked. That's not great either. But, like, how do you judge that if Caden Proctor, that's his name, right? The Alabama guy. If he pushes you out of the way, that doesn't mean the guy from Virginia is going to do it. So if you're playing the right way and you're just not quite as good, that's not necessarily – so I don't think you'll call out people for that. And maybe they played really hard against Alabama. They're just not quite deep enough or physical enough to stop them when it's all said and done. I think he will not hesitate to throw maybe not players but position groups under the bus. And I don't think anybody has a problem with that. They're all getting paid. He's getting paid a lot. They're coming off 2-10. It's no time for hand-holding. Like, if you don't play well, if you don't meet his standard, I don't think he'll hesitate, and I don't think he'll just try to protect you. And I know Gus Malzahn won't. He doesn't seem like the type that would protect. I don't mean to sound rude. Care about a kid's feelings that much that he would be willing to not say if a kid made a mistake or he was disappointed. So it'll be interesting, though. It'll be interesting. It's also going to be interesting that we get them Sunday night. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Those are going to be very informative, I think, and it's going to help inform us, and it's going to help make the shows that we do on Monday after games that much better, I think. So I am looking forward to that. With Gus, though, just again, you and I kind of disagreed on, the bummer about it is that we're going to have such a long gap between the last time we heard from Gus, which was like a week and a half ago or so, I think. And then after the Alabama game, that, listen, I did feel like there was a sense of wanting much more out of that team and that offense than they have right now. But again, they've had probably like a half dozen practices to maybe get a little bit closer, but it will be interesting to see what he says after the Alabama game, and then we'll see how they progress from there to get it. Because I think we'll get an idea if he is content with the offense, or if he thinks that, yeah, I finally do have my 11, but maybe they're not good enough, or I need more than 11. Like, I do need depth at running back. I need like 3 legitimate great guys, and I need 5 good receivers to give some guys some plays off. So I do think we might be able to get a little bit of a pulse on the offense with Gus, but going into things right now, I have no idea. It's hard to say whether or not Gus Malzahn is going to wake up on August 30th and be like, I've got everything I need to win this game. Not saying it's going to be easy, but like, I've got everything I need. Or if he's going to wake up and be like, man, I wish I had X, Y, and Z, or 1 more week or 3 more practices. So we'll find out after that game ends, and hopefully the scoreboard will have the bigger number under the Florida State name than the Alabama. We keep our fingers crossed. In the meantime, more show coming up, but don't forget, this has been Generating Discussion sparked by Cummins. Check them out on Instagram, Cummins Lifestyle, all one word. Noles, behind the marketing department, partnering up with us. So if you're going to do portable power out there, everybody, for your tailgate, choose Cummins. Next up, let's go to the Walking Knoll 01. Corey, what's up, man? I'm so pumped that we have made it this close to the season opener. I'm so thankful for you guys dragging us through the offseason. Here's to hoping that next year the baseball team will make it a shorter time with no sports. Amen. Amen, Walker. All right, in 2022, Corey missed the block extra point against LSU because he had to go pee?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Shout out to me for remembering that, he says. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I talked about it because it was the last play. I'd had to pee literally for like 12 minutes, 15 minutes, badly. But that drive kept continuing. Yeah. And there were a few 4th down conversions. I feel like there was an injury timeout. There was that long replay.
Oh, yeah. And
then when they scored on the final play, and then I had my binoculars on Brian Kelly, and when he put up one finger, I'm like, okay, we're going to overtime. Yeah. I've got to go pee. And then when I came out, everybody was on the field celebrating.
Dude, the crazy thing about that game is I left the press box to go down onto the field, and Florida State was up, I think, like 2 scores. Like, I'm like, all right, they're going to win the game. Let me just be on the sideline for get reaction video of them celebrating the win. And by the time I got from the press box onto the field, LSU had gotten the ball back and was like marching down the field to, try to get the game tied up or whatever. So it was, I missed a lot of important things in that game.
Well, that's when, obviously. So you missed Trayshawn fumbling at the one?
Yeah. I think I heard
the
it.
game was over?
I heard it, I think. I didn't know if that was the cheer of like a dagger or the cheer of, we're back from the dead.
Hope. Yeah. They could have just taken a knee and kicked a 20-yard field goal and the game would have been over. But, hey, whatever.
Yeah. Anyways.
It worked out. We'll always remember Shaheem because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my question is, if we were to win in some last-minute miracle against Alabama, what would you want it to be? Botched victory formation as recovered in return for a touchdown. Last second, 64-yard Jake Weinberg field goal. Hail Mary, caught in the end zone. What would be your pick? If I missed a cool scenario, just feel free to speak up. Thanks, you two. Go Noles.
I don't think I know I've never seen Florida State win on a Hail Mary. I've seen last-second field goals. Hopkins hit a 55-yarder. Fitzgerald hit a couple of game winners. I've never seen a Florida State win on a Hail Mary. So I feel like that would be fun.
Did Fitz ever hit a walk-off, though?
Yeah, against Syracuse.
Oh, yeah.
In 21. Yep. Fitzmagic hit a walk-off after, so he hit, I think that was probably the only one he hit, but he did hit it. So I would say that I would like to see the Hail Mary would be fun.
Okay.
I don't want to see Alabama screw it up. I want to see Florida State go win it. You know what I mean? Go take it. Like Shaheem Brown went and took that ball off his foot. I want to go see you win the game, not Alabama, fumble around and screw it up.
I think it would be awesome if Weinberg just laces one from 63 that is true the whole time. Like within half of a second of it hitting his foot, you're like, this thing is perfect. It's right down the mouth. That'd be incredible. Yeah. But I think
that'd be fun, yeah.
I'll go one step further with the, not Hail Mary, but miracle stuff. What if they just did like a bunch of laterals? Right? Like they had the ball, like Alabama scores to go up by 4 or whatever. And they, ensuing kickoff goes touchback. So Florida State only has one play left in the game. And it's just Tommy throws a screen pass to Deuce, who makes it 10 yards. Deuce throws it all the way down the other side of the field to Squirrel. Squirrel shoots up 20 yards. So they just keep flipping it. Like was it Duke or Miami? It happened Duke versus Miami. Was it Miami that miracle the game against Duke?
But that was a kick return. That was Miami against Duke. But I'd be all for that if they went with the Corey Clark strategy that I've been stressing for a couple of years now. And so you've got the ball at your own 20 with 3 seconds left. The 5 offensive linemen are all receivers or running backs too. There's no law that says you need 300-pounders on the field at a time.
Right.
So you're going to have Tommy Castellanos and 10 skill dudes all on the field. I want to see that happen. Have your right guard is going to be Cam Davis. Yeah, Cam Davis. Randy Pittman will be the left tackle.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore will be your right tackle. Like it doesn't matter. Like Castellanos is gonna get it and throw it immediately, and after that, all bets are off, and everybody's eligible to touch the ball as long as you lateral it. So that's what I want to see him win that way, strategically smart.
Yeah, innovative.
Think Corey Clark, innovative man. Yeah. Put 11 skill guys on the field and see if Alabama can stop it. I'd like to see that just in the second quarter on 2nd and 8. Just see what they do.
North Alabama Knoll. Both Alzon and Corey make Wake Up the best Florida State sports podcast out there, but Corey's ability to get off topic and go on a rant at the drop of a hat is what really sets it apart.
Sure.
That was a compliment, Corey.
I guess I'll take it either way.
Obviously, 13-1. Parenthetically adds the Orange Bowl wasn't a real game, but I refuse to pretend FSU went undefeated. So obviously 13-1, 2-10 are two extremes. But what record year in and year out would be considered success moving forward in the ACC? What would be considered success moving forward in either the SEC or Big Ten? A better record in the ACC is a given and should be easier, but hopefully with a playoff run sprinkled in here or there. What should the University and fans be happy with any given season in either conference? In addition to just the overall record, beating Miami, Florida, and or Clemson can also be factored into, quote, success.
It's a good question. I would say the way the ACC is currently constructed and the amount of money you put into this program, overall record like your conference record should never be worse than 6-2, in my opinion. Now I don't know who you're playing out of conference, And the reality is you need to get to Charlotte 75 to 80% of the time. I don't think that's asking too much, man. I don't. Clemson's there almost every year. What do they have that you don't, resource-wise? Not a lot. Like, I know they have a coach who's proven to be better than your coach, at least as we talk right now. But it's not like Clemson is bathing in money, Big Ten money. But somehow they figured out a way to be relevant and good for the last 13 straight years. Right? Maybe 14 straight years. I'm trying to think. But I think, 2012 they were really good. So, yeah, man, I think that's the standard. Clemson is the standard. And that's not asking too much to be on par with them. It just isn't. And it's not too much to expect that. Now, I know I'm talking in the context of coming off the debacle, but moving forward, starting this year, I don't think it's too much to ask, or maybe even if you want to say starting next year, I don't care. But starting next year, I think 6-2, 7-1 at absolute minimum is what you should expect. Now, because Miami's not – I know Miami's top 10 this year, but they have not been anything to be scared of the last 2 decades. Yeah. So I know Florida State always has to play Clemson and Miami, but let's not pretend Miami is Georgia. That's not that hard. So, I think 6-2 at a minimum. I think 9 to 10 wins regular season-wise is absolutely fair to expect. But more than anything, Aslan, I don't know you put a number on it, especially when you're talking about playoff games and ACC championship games. I just come back to you should always be in contention. Almost always. 4 out of every 5 years, you should be in contention to be in Charlotte going into your last ACC game.
Yes.
Always. Right? I don't think that's too much to ask, as long as you're in this conference. Now, if you're in the SEC, knock it down a peg. It's just harder. We all get it. I mean, I know I make fun of the SEC bias, and it's tremendous and absurd, but it is a harder conference. You don't get Wake and Stanford and Cal. You don't get a lot of those anyway. So, but yeah, as long as you're in the ACC, you need to be competing for Charlotte in November every year, and you should be making it 3 out of 5 years, 4 out of 5. I just don't think that's too much to ask, especially now that there are no divisions. Like
Agreed.
You and Clemson can be there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, I really don't have a lot to add to that, Corey, other than I just think that it was clearly a different era because it wasn't the 12-team playoff. And I get it. Listen, the trajectory of Florida State under Jimbo Fisher, the arrow was pointing down. But that stretch from 2012 to 2016, that's what I would be, I don't say over the moon. I'd be extremely pleased with that level of, I mean, and obviously the national title in there, but beat your rivals, win 10 games. And I think to your point, they probably were in the mix to win the ACC in most of those seasons had they, held on to beat Clemson in 15 and 16. So, I was going
to say, if the conference was structured the way it is now with no divisions, they would have been in Charlotte those years too. Right? At least I want to say 15, they definitely would have been. They lost to Georgia Tech too. Yeah. I still think that 6-2 and 15 in the ACC would have gotten them to Charlotte. And I think in 16, they would have gotten to Charlotte. Maybe it would have been Louisville and Clemson. I don't remember. But either way, they would have been in contention if they didn't have Clemson in their same division. So every time they lost to Clemson, they were basically 2 games down, and they weren't going to catch up. But yeah, right. But also, I think in this day and age, man, so I just did the math real quick. They went a stretch from the Florida game of 11. So that game where I think Florida State had less than 100 yards of offense, but they still won that game in Gainesville. From that game to the Florida game of 2011 to the Georgia Tech game that Georgia Tech won it on the blocked field goal, Florida State was 47-3 in a 50-game stretch. They went
solid
2-0 to end 11, 12-2, 14-0, 13-1, and started out 2015 6-0. Or maybe 5-0. Either way, they were either 46-3 or 47-3 in a 50-game stretch. I don't expect something like that ever again, but it ain't that hard to get close. I'll take 40-10.
Yeah.
You play 50 games in the ACC. I know out of conference is different and everything. You should be winning a lot more than you lose. And again, they did just win 19 games in a row. So we've lived this life pretty recently. 2-10 is obviously never, ever, ever going to happen again. It better not happen again. But it's not too much to ask for them to be dominant maybe at least a dominant record in this conference. You're Florida State, man. You're Florida State. So if it doesn't happen this year, if they go 4-4 again this year, I know last year they went 1-7. If they're somewhere in the neighborhood of 4-4, it's going to be a long, hard look in the mirror about what's going on, because that is unacceptable in my opinion.
Noles started out 6-0 in 2015. They would not have made the ACC championship in either 15 or 16 with current rules. In 2015, North Carolina was 8-0 in conference.
Oh, yeah.
So that was legitimate, undefeated conference teams lining up, Clemson and North Carolina.
What was their record overall?
North Carolina finished the year 11-3.
Were they 9-3 going into that at the end of the regular season?
You're asking me a lot of questions I don't have the answers to.
Sorry. I was wondering, just thinking about the playoff scenario, would Florida State...
They lost their last 2 games. They lost to Clemson, then they lost their bowl game, North Carolina.
Okay. I wonder if Florida State, after North Carolina lost to Clemson, does Florida State get that spot to go to the playoff? If it was you know what I'm saying?
Right.
A 10-2 Florida State that in 2015 played Clemson very close and lost their other game on a block kick, but it was to a bad Georgia Tech team. It was a bad loss. So, yeah, it would have been interesting to see if Florida State would have gotten in that year.
And then 2016...
I'm going to go ahead and guess probably not.
And then 2016, Louisville was 7-1, so
Yeah.
was Clemson, and Virginia Tech was actually 6-2. Florida State was 5-3, and
were they really?
There were several other teams that were 5-3.
Oh yeah, they lost to North Carolina too. I forgot. I knew they lost to Clemson and Louisville. I forgot about the North Carolina game.
Oh yeah, that guy doing the chomp,
the walk off. Yeah, did the chop. Good for him.
Let me think of something better. How about the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill? That'll put a smile on my face. CPTallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. It's where you should be every weekend, and especially week 1 when Alabama rolls into town, because Home Field Apparel is also rolling into town. They'll be having an event over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Friday. We're going to be part of the festivities, the Warchant crew, if you will. We're going to record a show live. We're going to even have it says surprise special guest, Corey. I don't even know who the surprise. It's such a surprise. I don't even know who it's going to possibly be. I can't wait to show up. Free wings for the first 100 fans. First 200 fans get a free Modelo draft, and they're going to raffle off 2 tickets to the Alabama-Florida State game. You also get a first look at new Home Field apparel, Garnet and Gold exclusive apparel, that is. I think if you bring a proof of purchase from Garnet and Gold in the past month of Home Field purchases, you will get a ticket into the raffle. So. Oh,
okay. Nice. That's fair. And I know that's Friday. That's whatever that is. 9 days out, 10 days out. But this Saturday night at the Corner Pocket, which is officially the start of college football season, Tom and the Cats,
yes,
a very popular local band, will be at Corner Pocket bringing in the college football year on Saturday night. I think they start at 8:30, so they play probably from 8:30 to 11:30 on Saturday night. 80s, 90s covers, a lot of dancing, a lot of good food, a lot of folks. So be there, and you'll have Iowa State and Kansas State or Stanford, Hawaii, one of those Week 0 games on the TVs you can look at too.
All at one place, the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. We go to Naples. We go to Mark. Wake up. To show how special your partnership is, the statistical odds of 2 best friends sharing birthdays with 2 different U.S. presidents is 1 in 147, or 0.68%.
Yeah.
45 different individuals have served 47 different presidencies, with Grover Cleveland and Donald Trump each counting twice. They were the only 2 presidents who served non-consecutive terms. There you go, everybody. The more you know. Shout out, Mark. Thank you. Our historian. Also,
but Mark, we're not best friends.
I know, right? Yeah. Sorry to.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
We're not quite Greenberg and Golick animosity, but we're not best friends, everybody.
Right. That's right. It's a working relationship. It's like Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey in Dirty Dancing. Apparently, they didn't like each other at all, but they got along.
Oh,
yeah,
terrible.
Isn't that sad to think about? They didn't like each other at all.
Yeah, golly. All right, back to Florida State, Bama. I truly believe that Florida State's going to hang tight with Alabama for about 2.5 quarters, maybe even lead Alabama late in the third. I'm assuming, though, maximum effort from a new FSU roster that's got some dudes and leaders. Second, atmosphere. Doak should be similar to the home opener against Notre Dame back in 2021. Similarly, Bama could also play a little tight and not to lose, much like Notre Dame did. Third, FSU may have the more dynamic quarterback, and Tommy is even more experienced and confident than Jordan Travis was in early 2021. X factor to me is whether Bama's offensive line simply wears down FSU in the fourth quarter and we run out of gas. Do you agree? It's almost go time.
Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of X factors. I think Alabama's biggest strength is that offensive line versus Florida State's defense. That's what they're going to lean on and hope on. Somebody brought it up on headlines, though, which is something to be encouraged by, that in 5 games last year, Jalen Milroe was Alabama's leading rusher. Their last 3 games, they averaged less than 3 yards per carry on the ground. And that's with a lot of those same linemen.
Correct.
Now, Michigan had a good defense. It was Auburn and Oklahoma where they didn't play a bunch of chumps there at the end. But I don't think Florida State's chumps either. So I don't know that they're just going to be able to mash Florida State out of the way. Yeah. No matter how many draft picks they have on the offensive line, they don't have Milroe back there to get some hidden yards. So there is a chance but they're absolutely that's the plan. I can't imagine there's a scenario where they think Simpson's going to throw it 50 times. That's not their game plan. They want to run it down Florida State's throat. They plan to. That is their strength, and it's just a matter of Florida State can stop it. And if they can stop it without having to devote, an extra guy to the box or a bunch of run blitzes where then you have Ryan Williams one-on-one, then you're in good shape, man. You're in good shape if you have to if Ty Simpson has to beat you with his arm, and he does, good for him. But if he gets, and I'm not talking about just throwing it up deep and your great receiver going and making a play and you're just blindly throwing it out there. I'm talking about him scanning zones, getting rid of the ball on time, and making, not
accurate
dynamic,
throws, like contested
throws. Like big time throws.
Yeah.
Like if he's making big time throws against good defense and he just beats you, the ball beats you, as Tony White says. If he's able to do that, that's fine. What I don't want you to give him is layups. Are just blind throw-it-ups because you have one-on-one coverage and Ryan Williams is better than the guy covering him. That's what you don't want because that gives an inexperienced quarterback it's like a cheat sheet. It's a cheat. It's easy for him. If he's just got man-to-man outside, he's got one of the best players in the country. He just throws it up to him, and then he hits a 70-yard touchdown. You give him a touchdown. Make him earn it with his brain and his right arm. But that's easier said than done because if they're in 2nd and 4 the whole game, well, you're going to lose probably. And he is going to hit you with play action. He is going to hit you one-on-one. He's going to hit you over the top. He is going to have some easy layup-type throws that a lot of Division I quarterbacks can complete. But if you put him in a situation where it's 3rd and 8 a lot of the time, and he has to make tough throws and anticipatory throws, if he does it, tip your hat, as our friend 11 used to say. But that's where you want to be. But it's easier said than done, man. Like my biggest worry in this game, not for the season necessarily, but in this game, well, it is for the season too, is will the defensive line be able to hold up? If they can hold up, and you can rotate in bodies, and they're all competitive and not getting blown off the field, and you can make it hard for Alabama to run the ball. They are going to run, but if it's not just 8 yards here, 11 yards, 5, 8. You get them in some long yardage situations. You got a fighting chance, man. Just don't make it easy for them. Don't it's a little different because Jordan Travis was the reason. But remember the 21 game in North Carolina where Jordan Travis was like 10 of 12,
extremely efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like 10 of 12 or 11 of 13 or something. But they were a few of them were just a couple of them were great throws. But some of them were just layup throws, and I'm thinking specifically like Pokey coming across the field on a post where because Florida State had run the ball so well and Jordan Travis was such a factor running the ball that you got one-on-one coverage and you beat him and it's an easy throw for it. Don't give Ty Simpson those types of throws. Make him go earn it.
Yeah. Jaden Roberts, one of their more ballyhooed offensive linemen, I think has been out with a concussion, so that also could possibly affect things. But they actually have depth at guard, so it's not the end of the world. I imagine he'd be ready to go in where do we need to be at? 10 days' time by the time everybody's listening to this?
Yeah.
Incredible. Let's keep it with Alabama. Island Chief, 10 days away from kickoff. It's right in front of my screen, Aslan. Just read it. I am mystified as to how any of this is going to look. Not a bad thing, just different. I have grown accustomed to hearing how the defense starts camp ahead of the offense, then the offense gels and they start winning their share of battles. Not so much this year. Not sure if the defense ever dominated or the offense gelled. At the end of the Alabama game, which unit is more likely to play a game that gives us a chance to pull off the upset?
Ask the question again. What's the gist of it at the end?
Which unit is most likely to be responsible for the upset? Is it going to be the defense carrying the day? Is it going to be the offense making big plays, I guess? Which unit more likely to play a game that gives us a chance to pull off the upset?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to answer. It's impossible, really.
Special teams.
Because that's a big one, too. Like, is Alabama going to struggle? Are they going to be good? I know they don't have a ton of confidence in their kicker, but Florida State's kicker has never attempted one in a game either, I don't think. Maybe he got in the Charleston Southern game. I can't remember. But either way, it's impossible to know. I think that obviously it's going to all three phases. You're not going to be able to be bad on defense and win this game. You're not going to be able to be bad on offense and win this game. And it's the first game of the season, so it's wonky anyway. It really is almost impossible to answer. I think I would go back to, though, I am confident that they'll move the ball offensively. I really am. You're going to have some guys make some special plays in the red zone and on third downs. That's a key to everything. They were horrible on third down. Well, they were horrible on every down last year, but they were really bad on third down. And it'd be nice to get a couple turnovers. Wouldn't that be something, Aslan? Create a couple turnovers. But, yeah, if you can slow down Alabama's running attack, you have a decent shot of winning, man. I truly believe that. But that's an enormous if.
Jake Weinberg scored 4 points last year. All of them against Charleston Southern. Had a field goal and an extra point. So,
all right. So this won't be his first college action.
There you go.
He got off the snide a little bit. All right. Okay. I wonder if it'll feel any different for him. Kicking against Charleston Southern when he's on a 1-9 football team or playing against Alabama in a season opener.
Yeah. Our guy T. Ferguson, 904. All the injury chatter about quarterbacks at programs around the country like DJ Lagway and Garrett Nussmeier has me thinking how important it is for Tommy to stay healthy if we want a chance at success this year. It also has me thinking of some of the infamous injuries that have plagued FSU in the past, most obviously Jordan Travis and DeAndre Francois. 2 questions. Which injury to the 2 players listed above did more to derail the program, in your opinion? 2, what other injuries can you all think of that really hampered a promising player? Our guy T. Ferguson offers up Josh Sweat. Had a good career, but didn't quite turn out to be the Clowney-esque game record we were promised. I have to think that a broken leg in high school didn't help his development much.
Correct, but he's made up for it.
Yeah.
He's a multi-millionaire and all-pro and a Super Bowl champ.
Yeah, the Eagles got
for him.
Eagles got the best out of him. That's
Eagles
good.
got all that stuff, yeah. Oh, man, there's a lot of injury. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, did the most to derail the program. Hard to argue.
I think it's Francois.
Really, though? I don't know. So you think Jimbo was still in limbo, and then maybe that pushed them over? Like if Francois doesn't get hurt against Alabama, maybe Jimbo doesn't leave, or it doesn't even matter if Jimbo leaves or stays. You at least have Francois healthy for 2 more seasons, and you're a competitive 8-9 win team probably. And you didn't get that in 2017 or in 2018 and 2019.
Yeah, so they ended up, what were they that year? 7-6?
Yeah.
Right?
In 2017.
I mean, I think with Francois, you're looking at another 10-win season. They obviously lose the Alabama game because they lost it with him. But they almost beat NC State with James Blackman. They win that game. I think they beat Miami with Francois. I think they beat, I don't know, whoever else they played. Like there weren't Louisville. They gave away the Louisville game. Blackman had a horrible fumble at the end of that game. They should have won that one. So yeah, now all of a sudden you're looking at 10 wins, and it's like I know Jimbo basically quit when it was 4-6.
Miami too. Did you already say Miami? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did say Miami. So 4-6 or 5-6, but the rumbling started when Jimbo was 3-6 or 4-6. If they're 8-2. Is it harder for him to leave? I don't know. I really don't. Also, I'm not trusting that it was gonna turn around to be 13 again, but it wouldn't have fallen off a cliff. And here's why I think by this. So I think it was inevitable Jimbo left at some point. It was just going to be it wasn't going to last much longer.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have hit the depths that it hit post Jimbo. And then my point being, let's say Jimbo did leave right after the 19 season. Well, that would have been 2 more decent years, in my opinion. If Francois stays healthy, I'm talking about. Francois would have continued to get developed. He was a good college quarterback, under Jimbo anyway. He had some great moments as a redshirt freshman. Mm-hmm. And if he has a good sophomore season, that builds some more excitement. You get better players around him for his junior season. And then let's say Jimbo does bounce for LSU. Instead of them hiring Brian Kelly, they hire Jimbo Fisher. Well, then maybe after that, you immediately go to Norvell. And you just skip the Taggart era altogether. And there's better players for Norvell to work with. There's a better locker room. There's a better program for Norvell to come into. So he's not coming into that, just cesspool. He's coming into a better program where the lows aren't quite as bad. That said, Jimbo or not, DeAndre Francois or not, 2024, had nothing to do with Willie Taggart. So I feel like 2024 still would have happened whether Francois was the starter or not. And I think it clearly still would have happened whether Jordan Travis gets hurt or not. I wonder, though, because I get the point of the Jordan Travis one, right? Because I guess the theory is if Jordan Travis is healthy, they make the playoff.
Right. Which you don't necessarily subscribe to, you said.
I don't 100% subscribe to that. I think they were looking for any excuse not to pick Florida State, but I think if Florida State beats Florida probably by 3 touchdowns at least, like I think they would have with Jordan Travis. And if they beat Louisville by 3 touchdowns, which I think they would have with Jordan Travis because they beat him without any sort of passing game, then I think it's almost impossible to keep them out if they had played well and won. And then at that point, man, I watched that Michigan team. I watched that Michigan team versus that Alabama team. I'm not convinced Florida State doesn't beat Michigan and then goes and wins the national championship. Yeah. Like, you can't tell me that Florida State wasn't almost as starting 22, not the depth, obviously, as we found out in Sunrise. What is that? Miami Beach.
Miami
Gardens.
What's that? Miami Gardens.
Miami Gardens. I was 5th time's the charm.
You're very close.
So I think if Jordan Travis stays healthy, I would give Florida State a 1-3 chance of winning the national championship. Legitimately. I think they would have had a decent chance. I just think they had a chance. They matched up with those teams. They would not have been blown off the field by any of them, and I think they would have had the most dynamic quarterback out of anybody in the. Well, Penix was pretty good. So was McCarthy. Mm-hmm. They just didn't use McCarthy. This is all hypothetical anyway. But I don't know, even if Florida State goes on and wins the national championship in 2023, does that mean 2024 doesn't happen?
I know, that's the thing. I don't think if Jordan stays healthy and all the best things happen at Florida State, they still recruit probably the way they recruited.
Yeah.
Which finds them in the position that they were in last year.
Yeah. So that's why I think the Francois one was a bigger deal, just because I don't think other than the end of that season, Jordan Travis didn't have any there was no echo effect. There was no ripple effect that happened in 2024 that wouldn't have happened if he had stayed healthy. But I think there was a big ripple effect from Francois going down. Yeah. Blackman, the losses, Taggart coming, all that stuff was you could point it to Francois getting hurt.
Yeah. As to injuries that really hampered a promising player, everything's worked out again for Josh Sweat. Good example, T. Ferguson. But Derwin's probably in there. We didn't really get a lot out of Derwin over here. Antonio Cromartie's a guy we probably did not get. When you think about just how great he was in the NFL, we didn't get a lot of that in Tallahassee. And I don't know, I don't know, Anquan did all right. So I won't throw Anquan in there. But who knows? Maybe if he doesn't get hurt, I think we said that on a show last week, Corey, right? Like maybe he ends up sticking around at quarterback and maybe he turns out to be like a really good quarterback and, we don't find ourselves in this lost decade. But those are the only guys I can think about injuries hampering promising players. Awesome thing, though, is all those guys I just said had great NFL careers. So it ended up working out. Yeah, so it didn't get totally derailed. I don't know if I want to think about one. That'd be a downer. So
it is a downer. There's plenty, though. There's plenty of because it's football. I bet Alabama has them, too. Yeah. Like Georgia has them. There's a lot of, what ifs, not just because Anquan and Cromartie had in the win-up have great careers. So, you didn't get to play your sophomore. Derwin, too. It's like, you didn't get to play your sophomore year. It still turned out all right. What's really painful when you do this job, as long as I have, is thinking about guys that were never the same again, and then never had a football career after that, or the one they thought they were going to have, or seemed like they were on the trajectory to have.
Brandon
so
Jenkins,
that's
kind of right.
That's a really, really good one. That's a really good one. That's a good one, buddy. I like the Brandon Jenkins one. What about Mario Pinder? My man was apparently better than Dalvin Cook. And then sprains his ankle and basically never sees the field again.
Yeah. Wally Pipp, 21st century.
No lie.
Decisions. Power or speed, quality or quantity. How about both? How about all? You don't have to sacrifice anything when you choose Brunt Workwear. You're not only going to get durable, well-crafted, resilient workwear, but also really stylish choices that allow you to go ahead and pivot right from the job site to your kids' activities, running errands, or meeting up for drinks after work. And since Brunt Workwear is geared for you, the real worker, they know you got no time to waste. You need those work boots to deliver once you get them in the mail and you lace them up. So enjoy the peace of mind of work boots and gear that are ready to go right out of the box. Got that broken and comfortable feeling day one to give you the comfort and security you want. Use the promo code WAKEUP. I'm going to say it one more time. Wake up. It's all one word. Over at bruntworkwear.com to save $10 off your order. I'm going to say the website again, everybody. You ready? bruntworkwear.com. Use that promo code to save $10 off your order. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. I like this question a lot, Core. This might have been the generating discussion sparked by Cummins' winner of the week, but we try to get new people in the mix, and Tennis Hump's already won once. So with that said, wake up. Of the 4 games that Florida State currently is projected to be the underdog in, Alabama, Miami, Clemson, and Florida, which there's future lines out that far out on these games that we know this for a fact, or do we?
I mean, we know Alabama and Clemson. Clemson, they're going to be an underdog unless
clearly,
some craziness happens. Florida and Miami, we have no clue.
Okay.
No clue.
Well, anyways, these games, these 4 opponents, Alabama, Miami, Clemson, and Florida, how would you rank their quarterbacks? How would you rank those 4 quarterbacks? Thanks as always. I like this because I saw this first, and then I kind of proofread some of these questions beforehand, Corey, and makes you feel good because of all those 4, I think clearly Alabama has the less talented quarterback, or I don't want to say the worst, but although he's supposedly sneaky athletic, but Klubnik 1, Lagway 2, Carson Beck 3, then Ty Simpson. I feel good about Klubnik 1, Ty Simpson 4, Lagway, Carson Beck, flip a coin, whichever one is less hurt, probably.
Yeah, I would. I think that's right. I think I might put Carson Beck 3, but let's see what it looks like. Don't they open with Notre Dame? They open with Notre Dame, so we'll know early what it looks like there. And Clemson opens with LSU, so again we'll see. But yeah, I think Klubnik certainly had the best season in 2024. So if you just want to go by that, he had the best season. And then Lagway is at least in the same offense. Carson Beck's with completely new players and a completely new offense, so he's more of a wild card. And I think Lagway is maybe the most talented out of all of them, but he's completed like 80 passes in his career, or 90 passes. He hasn't done nearly what Beck and Klubnik have accomplished. So yeah, I think you could flip a coin with Lagway and Beck, depending on what you value, like potential over production, projectability versus reality, like those kind of things. But I would say I would put Simpson at 4, and Klubnik at 1, and then the other 2 in the middle. Either way you want to put it. And the thing with Simpson though is he was they had him ranked when he was coming out of high school as a dual threat, and he did have the 74-yard run against whoever it was, Middle Tennessee State or whoever, East Tennessee State last year. So he can move. He's not Jalen Milroe, but he can get yardage with his legs. Like he's not a statue. He's not Carson Beck. He can move a little bit.
Blue Knoll, hey guys, what do you make of the field at Doak Campbell Stadium being resodded for the opener? Did the grounds people get something wrong, or is this a good thing? Should we get Bill Murray from Caddyshack on it?
Yeah.
I didn't get to read all of it. Yeah, lay and play. Yeah, this is our own Irish O'Fell hammered out something over the weekend, but again, I really kind of was hesitant to say anything because I don't want it to come off as criticism, but it was my understanding that they actually had resodded the field sometime during the spring. So for them to and I'm sure that wasn't cheap to do that. So for them to resod, I'm not worried about it being safe and ready for the opener, which maybe that's what more people are worried about. I'm more worried about, like, was this like a last second kind of decision? Was this always the plan? Maybe they wanted to keep the grass. Maybe they want to put new sod just so the stadium looked good on the webcam shots. And if they had to bring visitors from recruiting on there, that's more my concern. But I don't know. Do you have any concerns about because Juice Cryer mentioned something about that on Tuesday, right? Like you can't have any excuses, even if the grass doesn't.
Like the new turf is all messed up.
Sounds like somebody's trying to think of an excuse there, Justin Cryer.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I might be speaking out of school. I'm certainly not speaking with 100% confidence, but why has that ever stopped me before? I can fly off the handle and not know what I'm talking about. But there's no way this was the plan. What if it was the plan? Wouldn't we have heard about it? Like, hey, and when the stadium is mostly done, then we're going to do this new thing that they're doing in the NFL called lay-and-play, where you bring in a turf each season. And then you replace it each year. It's a new turf that you lay down, you play on it, everything's fine. You can have your concerts and your motocrosses, and then when that's over, you bring in a whole new turf the next year. There's no way, I shouldn't say there's no way, there's very little way that this was always the plan. Because I feel like it would have been part of the discussion for the last year. And then 2 weeks before the opener, less than 2 weeks before the opener, all of a sudden we're hearing about lay and play. Yeah, you know. But again, I don't really care if it's there and it works and it's not a health risk, and I don't think it will be because I do think the NFL teams use it. These NFL stadiums use it. So I think it is. I think the Bucks, maybe the Bucks use it too. So
the Cardinals, I think, are the most. That's the example I think I saw first because like Arizona doesn't have. They're like domed in, so they bring that grass. They like roll it up and then leave it outside, and then bring it back in and unfurl it when they play their season.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah. So I mean, it's not like this is innovative and revolutionary. Nobody knows if it's going to work before. They use this. This is not. This isn't risky. It's just, I don't know. It's like complaining. I don't want to complain just to complain because what does it matter to me? As long as there's grass there and it's not going to be slipping and sliding, then who cares if it was planned for or not? It's an extra, $400,000, $500,000? How much does this whole renovation cost? $2 billion? Like, what's an extra $400,000? So it's just, it's not even problematic. That's too strong a word. It's just, you shake your head a little bit. Like, really, 2 weeks before you're having to figure out that you need brand new grass? But I think Ira said it on headlines. Maybe he said it on Jeff's show, Jeff's singular show, that maybe they got some feedback after the scrimmages, even though they weren't able to scrimmage much at the stadium. But when they did, maybe they didn't like the way the turf felt. Yeah. Maybe there was something wrong with the turf at the stadium, and they're like, you know what, this is not great. Let's go ahead and just do this lay and play thing like they do in the NFL. But
maybe it was the plan all along, and they wanted to keep it secret, so this kind of spooks out Alabama. Because if you're an Alabama player and you're like, what? I'm going to play on a field that's not even going to be 2 weeks set in the side. Like, I don't like the sound of that. So maybe this is like some
I'm not playing, Coach.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Caden Proctor, a lot on the line for you in the future, young man.
Yeah,
listen, it's not even a conference. Not even a conference game.
Right.
Why risk it?
It doesn't matter if you lose. Nobody's going to hold it against you.
No,
because it's Florida State and it's an SEC team, so you got nothing to lose. You got everything to lose and nothing to gain by playing in this game, Proctor. So it really kind of goes for all their starters.
Ryan Williams too. Listen, you got so much career ahead of you. Why risk a bad plant foot on some bad grass? Come on, Ryan.
Yeah, why risk planning and then the whole sod just slips out from under you? You're not going to want to do that. You're not going to want to break your leg. Like, that was the guy for Alabama that was really good and then never played. Prothrow?
Tyrone
Is that his name?
Prothrow, yeah. What an incredible,
unbelievable catch and then a horrible leg break. And never. I know he's not a Florida State guy, but that was horrible to see. So, there's another bad injury.
We go to Court G. We'll do two more, I think. Wake up, gentlemen. As we get closer to week one, I'm starting to convince myself that an upset is possible. You shouldn't have to convince. Yeah, you have to convince yourself. Convince yourself that they're going to win, like comfortably or something. That's convincing. But like that they could upset Alabama. Yeah, that doesn't take a lot of convincing. Anyhow, thinking back to the last time we beat Alabama, which player from that offense would you most like to add to this team? Xavier Lee's
Alabama's offense?
No, from the team that last beat Alabama, that 2007 team, Corey.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Okay.
Xavier Lee's athleticism which
No.
our guy, which is this fun, he actually spells Gus with a Z,
Oh,
which
all right.
looks like it would be
because
pronounced.
Malzahn has a Z in it.
Yeah. It would be pronounced like guz, which actually is a word in Persian. And actually means passing gas. But anyhow, Xavier Lee's athleticism in Gus's offense, or one of the receivers, Greg Carr opposite of Deuce, just throw the ball up. Dakota Fagg could be your second receiver with Deuce and bump Squirrel to the slot, or let Gus be creative and find some exciting ways to get the ball into the hands of Preston Parker. Oh, Preston Parker forgotten way too easily, too often times. Was he heavily in the mix in 2007, Preston Parker?
Yeah, he was a big deal. So at the end of that year, he ended up playing running back because they had run out of running backs, and he had like 130 yards on 20 carries as a running back. Like they went to him. He was the starting running back against it. It was whoever they beat to get bowl eligible.
Let me get here. Let me get
maybe.
there. I'm on Nole fan. Maryland, 20 rushes. Good job, Corey. 20 for 133 and a touchdown. And he caught a 21-yard pass.
Kid was a player, man. He was a baller. So, I would take him. That's the guy I would take.
Okay.
I don't even think – was there anybody else that – yeah, that's the guy I would take.
Yeah, I'm better. I think we're better off with Tommy at quarterback, and I think – love Greg Carr. All he did was catch touchdowns. But I think we're fine at receiver. I don't know if Greg Carr or Dakota would be an upgrade. But, yeah, Preston Parker. Sweet Preston Parker.
Yeah. Oh, the real answer, though, is Rodney Hudson. That's the real – although he was just a freshman.
Yeah.
So that's the trouble. But Rodney Hudson was the most talented player on that offense by a pretty wide margin. Parker was probably second. Ponder, but right? Ponder was on that team, wasn't he? Yeah. He was a redshirt freshman on that team. But I would still I would go with Parker because I don't know if freshman Rodney Hudson would be playing on this offensive line currently.
Yeah,
now, sophomore, junior Rodney Hudson would have been the best player on the team.
I'm trying to think. I'm looking through the old roster, but it's tough. It's not sorted by player. Russell Ball. He was a little jittery running back, right? That would help.
Yeah, sure.
I can help that. All right, last one. Our guy Beham, FSU. Good morning, gentlemen. James Buster Douglas pulled off one of the greatest upsets in sports history when he knocked out Mike Tyson on February 11th, 1990 in Tokyo, Japan. Underestimating Buster was a key factor into Iron Mike's loss. Are we, Florida State fans, listeners, underestimating the value of 2-10 rat poison that the media and Alabama fans are feeding to the Tide football team? Is it a factor? Could there be a sense of, it is the opener, it is a big game, you're coming into the hostile territory, but they were so bad last year, and they did do this complete reset, but could there be this sort of taking Florida State much more lightly than they should from Alabama? I know Alabama's Alabama, but they didn't have a great season by their estimation last year. I don't know how arrogant, overconfident they could be, but I'm hoping that would be a factor, but I don't know if it will be.
I mean, I would definitely think they're confident they're going to win comfortably. The fans and the players are what really matters. But yeah, when you're playing a 2-10 team, and what film are they watching? Like, what film are they watching of the guys on this team? You know what I mean? Like, I guess they're watching film of Deuce Robinson at USC, maybe, but they have nothing really to go on as far as what this offense is going to look like. None. They know Tommy Castellanos can run around. That's kind of, if they're out at the bar, not the bar, let's say they're out at the club, they're at the pool, one of the Alabama defensive players, and like, hey, man, how's Florida State look? Man, I don't know. Their quarterback can run around a little bit. Nobody else has really done much. It should be no problem. The offensive line is a bunch of no names from other schools. You know what I mean? Like, right, I think that's how they might view it. Most offensive linemen are no names, by the way, just because the nature of the position. But I could see that. I mean, they're 14-point favorites or 13.5-point favorites. They're facing a 2-10 team, and they are Ala effing Bama. So absolutely, they could come in overconfident. I would be surprised if they weren't overconfident. Or when does it become overconfident? Maybe they're rightly confident. You know what I mean? Maybe their confidence ends up being completely realistic, and they win this game comfortably because they are just better than Florida State. The thing is, though, you have the element of surprise because they have no film None on what this thing looks like with Castellanos at quarterback and a Gus offense with these receivers and running backs. No, they have nothing to go on. Like Florida State knows what offense they're going against. They know what the quarterback can do to a little extent because he did play a little bit last year and he did play 2 years ago. And they know at least some of the running backs, and they obviously know the wide receivers. I feel like, yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. They could come in and expect an easy game, and then midway through the second quarter realize, oh no, this is not a 2-10 football team. It's not a championship team either, probably. But these guys are better than we thought. We better start bringing it. And maybe by that time it's too late. Who knows?
I'm in no way, shape, or form advocating for this to happen, but there could be maybe some sort of psychology that works out in Florida State's favor if they do fall down into an early hole. Like, let's say Alabama just rips down the field 2 straight drives, they're up 14-0, and then that gives them overconfidence, and then the grit that Mike Norvell's talked about, the edge shows up, and then at that point you get counterpunched, and then you're kind of reeling if you're Alabama, because they could easily fall into some sort of hole too. Listen, they lost 4 games last year. That's a lot for that team. That's a lot for that program. And if this, 2-10 quote unquote team gets off the mat and punches you back, and you find yourself tied at halftime, and then maybe you get some doubt. Maybe you're Ty Simpson. You haven't had a couple good drives in about a quarter and a half, and then you start pressing, and then that gives Florida State more life. So that's a beautiful thing about this game. And I don't think there's nothing to be indicative of the first 30 minutes of the football game, I think, that says the game is over or decided anyway. I really do think it's going to be determined maybe the middle 8, but I don't think so. I think it really will be like the second half is going to be, I don't know what I was going to say, belt to blank, but that's Jeff Cameron's term. But that's going to be the pivotal time.
You're allowed to use it. But I will say this, man, don't let it be close in the fourth quarter, because then if you're Alabama,
the better kicker. You've got the okay, all right, yeah.
I don't mean that. I just mean you have a quarterback that's never been in a situation like this. And, buddy, if it's close in the fourth quarter and the Florida State crowd actually believes this is happening and they have a chance to knock off Alabama, who's playing in Doak for the first time ever on national TV, and it's close or Florida State's ahead, it is going to be something that Ty Simpson has never experienced before. Not even close. There's nothing to even compare it to. And now he might answer the bell. He might do it. Maybe that whole team does it. But, man, if you make it, you get in the fourth quarter where Doak becomes Doak and becomes magical. Like, look, man, that Notre Dame team in 2021 was worlds better than that Florida State team. Much, much better. And they had an 18-point lead in the second half. But then Jordan Travis leads a touchdown drive. Then Mackenzie Milton comes in and just looks like 2018 Mackenzie Milton. And then all of a sudden, that place is electric and going nuts. And if Mackenzie Milton doesn't fumble a snap and end up having to force a long field goal, Florida State might have won that game. Like, Notre Dame completely melted down once Doak became Doak. And I think that might have been a better team than this Alabama team. So just saying, like, it was certainly a bigger discrepancy in talent, that Notre Dame team versus that Florida State team versus this Alabama team and this Florida State team, in my opinion. So the chasm isn't nearly as big as that Notre Dame Florida State one was. So, man, close game. Doak becomes a real factor. A real factor. I think a lot of Florida State fans going into this game are going to be cautiously optimistic, cautiously hopeful. They're going to be loud at the beginning just because that's what they're supposed to do. Then they're going to settle in and expect to watch their team lose. Or at least, I mean, I don't think that's unrealistic, right? They're going to expect, they're hoping Florida State wins. They're expecting maybe a competitive game, but they might think, yeah, man, we just don't probably have enough horses in game one against a team like Alabama. I just hope it's not embarrassing. And then let's say it's 20-20 in the fourth quarter. Well, now they all believe. And now Alabama's not just facing the other 11 on the other side. They're facing 68,000. Not 83,000. Those days are gone, Aslan. But 68,000. 60,000 probably will be in their seats. Other 8,000 will be on a porch or in the club in a suite. But whatever. It'll be a real atmosphere, right? It'll be a tough place for Alabama to play. Like, they're used to playing in the SEC. I get it. But you would be facing not only a desperate, hungry team and a hungry program, a fan base that is starved after last year and frankly embarrassed about what happened last year. You give them like some red meat and a real chance to pull off this upset, it could be one of the louder moments in Doak Stadium history. Literally. I don't know why I called it Doak Stadium. There is a second name to that, right? I can't remember. It's Doak something. I forget. But yeah, I think it could literally be one of those magical type moments if it's close in the fourth quarter, and Doak can kind of carry that Florida State team to an upset win.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. Come on, Corey. I love it. Feeling it.
I'm just saying. I should keep it close and see what happens. See if Ty Simpson is the player that they think he is and is man enough to like rise up and make plays down the stretch, or if he's going to melt down because he has no experience of making plays when it matters, and he might, but make him earn it. Make him go win against a really hostile atmosphere. Although according to Ira, he thinks it'll be 20,000 Alabama fans at the game.
Oh wow.
I don't think that's accurate, but it could. I mean, it'll be more than 10. There'll at least be 10. Yeah. But still, it'll be a real road environment for Ty Simpson. He's never really faced something like this.
All right, let's go face Coach Herb Hand and select the players. So be on the lookout for that over on warchant.com. If you're a member, you can always jump into the Tribal Council. Corey Clark does a live transcription of what's going on, so you get a full summary of what's said instead of having to listen to the whole 16, 17-minute interview, although Herb Hand's a really fun listen, so maybe you want to do that as well. Plenty going on over at Warchant. Sorry?
I was going to say, do both. Read my transcript and then go listen to Herb.
Okay, there we go. Why not? Yeah. What's I forgot how to say it in Spanish, but that was like a thing for a while. It was viral. Like, why not both? Anywho, warchant.com, recruiting stuff going on. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Live show tonight, 6 p.m. ? Corey Clark?
Yeah, we'll do it. And also, real quick, before we sign off, shout out to Parker Messick, who got called up to the Guardians and will be, I think, starting tonight for the Guardians in his Major League Baseball debut. At least that was reported on Twitter. And he would then become the number 82, the 82nd Florida State player to make the Major Leagues.
Hell yeah. Let's go, Parker. Man, imagine we had Parker Messick the last 2 years. Well, that would have been nice. Yeah. That would have been real nice. All right, we're done. Live show, 6 p.m., and then everybody else that we didn't get to today in the mailbag, we'll get to those questions either during the live show or for the show on Friday. So we look forward to talking about that and reconvening at a later hour, everybody. Thanks again for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com.